I think there is a little bit of doom and gloom generally in the creative industries,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think having the human connection is more meaningful, more important now more than ever.
No.
Especially, I think we're still kind of reeling from COVID and being so separated that there is, it's just important to get out there and see real people and to celebrate.
Hi, guys, and welcome to another episode of the podcast. I am super excited about today's chat. My guest is, one of the first guests in the season 1, and he's kind of everything you can expect from a designer, writer, speaker. We had such a great chat in the first season. It was, I think, my longest episode of the season 1, approximately hour and a half. And he just published a brand new book, Fine Specimens. Yeah, a showcase of contemporary type design. So he obviously had to promote the book a bit. And also there are 3 of my typefaces inside. So I wanted to promote the book as well. So yeah, we are going with that. Elliot, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me again, Alan. Really appreciate it.
Again, it's such a pleasure. I have to say the first conversation was a really, really good one. I had such a great time. So it's a pleasure.
Same. I'll try not to keep it as long this time. I didn't realize it was an hour and a half.
You have more important things to do?
I just feel bad for your listeners having to do an hour and a half of me. Oh my goodness.
No, I had a great time. So, Fine Specimens. I know this background story and everything, but come on, tell us a bit more about it.
Yeah, well, this project started as originally a Kickstarter. So around about the time that my other book, Universal Principles of Typography, came out, which was maybe we chatted not long after that. I can't remember what it was.
Yes. But, yeah. I think we did a giveaway as well. So yeah.
Yes, that's right. We did. So that came out in April 24. And almost immediately afterwards, I launched a Kickstarter campaign for Fine Specimens to put together a book that was a big collection of specimen graphics from contemporary foundries. And it was just really bad timing on my part. I'm not sure why I decided to do that. Marketing is not my strength, but going from like releasing one book with a publisher to suddenly like, oh, and there's this other one I'm going to self-publish and you should back it on Kickstarter was not a great move, I think. And so it did get a fair amount of support, but didn't meet its goal, which was a shame. But, I was like, okay, well, fair enough. That's that, put a pin in it. And then my publisher, Quarto, who did Universal Principles, they said, well, we'd maybe be interested in putting it out with a slight revision to the format, this kind of thing. And so I was like, yeah, I'm up for that. That sounds great. So we revisited the idea, and their idea was, so with traditional publishing, you kind of want a book to have like a longer shelf life, whereas my idea with Fine Specimens was that I would maybe do it one a year. There'd be a yearly volume kind of thing. And they said, well, we'd like it to have a longer shelf life, so maybe we could extend the time so that it includes fonts that have come out in the last sort of 2 to 3 years kind of thing. And so I decided that anything published from 2023 onwards, knowing that this would come out in 26, would then mean that you had, it came out last week, you open it up and that nothing is older than a sort of 2.5 to 3 years. There are some fonts in there which have been updated from previous versions, but I allowed anything in there if it was like a very significant update, like adding a new language, sort of a whole new version, significant redrawing, stuff like that. But yeah, and so it's been a long journey because I did the planning for that Kickstarter campaign and all of the, speaking to the foundries and stuff like that, a long time beforehand. And then there was all the process of putting it all together and stuff. And in some ways, this book is, because it's not, unlike Universal Principles, which I wrote and illustrated and designed and everything, this one's more of a curated thing because obviously the foundries provided me the graphics. The foundries provided me with the text, which I then edited, and I curated the whole thing, designed it. But I'm trying not to take too much credit because it's other people's work that this book is about showing off. So it was kind of easier, I guess, in that sense to sort of come together on evenings and weekends, balancing alongside the day job. But yeah, it eventually went to print last September, I think. So it's been like done since then. But then here we are in March, and now it's out in the
Yeah,
world, which is super
marketing and
exciting.
everything, and
Exactly.
yeah. Oh, that's amazing. More than 60 foundries, right?
Yes. How many are there, Leon? I should know this.
You have been reading them this morning.
69, I think it was. Yeah,
69.
was it? Yes.
Okay.
Lots of them. Yeah, I did. Yes, I published that reel this morning, which took forever
Yeah.
to edit and put everyone's
I can
logos
only
on.
imagine. Yeah. I
You're
mean,
very well versed in this stuff.
yeah. I'm sometimes for this introduction of the podcasts, I prepare for like hours, so I can only imagine how it was like to read all these names and in different languages. And
Yeah, there's a few times that I did a take and then realized I'd mispronounced someone, and there's probably mispronounced people in there anyway. So apologies for anyone involved.
no worries about it. But how was it to collect so many different typefaces? How did you pick them, or the foundries pick them? How did it work?
Yeah, so it's a mix. So I got in touch with, I'm very fortunate that I know a lot of type foundries, like yourself. And sometimes people send me things, for the newsletter or whatever, or just to kind of get the word out there and stuff. Sometimes I went to foundries that I perhaps didn't have a relationship with, that I said, hey, I love your work, interested in doing this book. And then in the initial stage, I approached foundries with this idea. And I don't think for anyone I said, can I have this particular typeface? It was more like, tell me what you've released. Because also I was aware of what people have released generally, but sometimes that was maybe like just missed the time scale, or I was like, hey, if you've got something coming up that isn't out yet, but will be out. And in actually quite a few cases, there are a few foundries who said, okay, we've got this font in the works. It's not going to be out probably for like nearly another year. Could we still include it? And I was like, well, as long as like you've got like a firm pub date and you have the graphics done so that it can be in the book and at the point at which the book is designed. And that was the case with a few of them. And, because it takes so long to put it all together and to then to print and everything, those typefaces have now been out for, in some cases like a year or so. But yeah, it was, the idea was really just say, hey, look, I love your work. I'd love to get you in the book. Let me know what you've got that fits in this time frame. And let's get it out there. And I did approach foundries who I knew were capable of producing really beautiful graphics as well. So, case in point yourself, I love your graphics, and you and a bunch of foundries in there were people whose work I love seeing on social media, and I love seeing it on websites that have fonts on them. But I'm like, these graphics are beautiful. I don't want them to be lost to this eternal scroll and to just disappear because they're destined for an online only presence. So I wanted to give them a physical space to always exist in. And that was the real motivation behind the book, to kind of take all of these things that otherwise might have been lost to time and the ephemeral nature of the internet, and say, hey, no, these are beautiful graphics and they're beautiful typefaces, and I want to celebrate them and have them in a book. Was
it more work than you originally expected?
I think every single project I ever take on is always more work than I think.
Yeah.
Always. Because it's, like I said, because it was a more of a sort of curation sort of role rather than sort of write, I didn't go and write this book. It was curation, I guess, sounds quite easy. And it is, in the sense of it's not as time consuming. Yeah, but it's the decision making that goes into what to include, where to include it, the actual sections of the book, the way to kind of like split all this stuff up. I spent a really long time going through lots of different options and changing my mind and refactoring it fairly last minute, which I did with the other book as well. Right before that was ready for print, I totally reimagined all the sections and moved everything around, and it was a nightmare. It wasn't quite so bad with this one, but I really struggled with that question of how to classify, because classifying type is hard, and it's hard for folks like us who are in the industry and have been doing type things for a long time, and know about different classification systems and everything. And it's certainly hard for folks who are just starting out or don't care about that stuff and just want to get, what's a nice font. And so I really I struggled with like how to break it up. So, should there be serif and slab serif, and should there be various different types of sans, or it was a it was really tricky. And in the end, I ended up with just 4 sections in the book. So one being serif, one being sans, one being a mix of handwritten, calligraphic, black letter script as one sort of bundle, and then one as a classification defying. And I guess I still maybe worry that is perhaps too broad. But my thinking behind it was that you don't want to get bogged down in working out if you happen to be looking at, the humanist, neo-grotesque section of a book to see if you're going to find the right sans.
Yeah.
And so I felt like if you're searching for a font, you probably, this is a huge generalization, but you probably know if you're after a serif or a sans at the very least. And you kind of and you sort of just want to be in that rough section. And again, like with sans, I had a bunch of monospaced typefaces in there, and I was like, should mono be its own section? So in the end, I went with simplicity. And I think some type purists might be like, I can't believe it. This is so simple. But I feel like being more accessible to everybody is beneficial. And also, it, like I said, it doesn't make looking through the book stressful. Hopefully it's just something where you can just open it and have a flick through and just enjoy it as a coffee table book, just as a general source of inspiration, whether you're actually actively looking for a typeface to use or not. And so, yeah, I'm hoping that seems to be resonating with people, that way it's classified. So fingers crossed.
No, it's really good. I mean, you just go into it and there's so many amazing fonts and typefaces and previews. And I've been like stunned. I mean, I am in this design industry and font industry and everything, but I haven't seen some of them like ever. And it's such a great work from all of these foundries. And it's really, really good thing. But you mentioned going back on social media, and how does that feel? You have been, quiet. I will not say absent completely, but quiet for a longer time. So how does it feel to be back?
I hate it. No, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. That's not true. The thing is that I love Instagram and social channels in terms of seeing what other people are up to. I love seeing the great work that people are putting out, being inspired by everything from, type designers putting out amazing type specimens through to an awesome comic book artist hand penciling something and doing a little time lapse. So, I love all that stuff. I love seeing friends, kids and pets and what they're up to, all that kind of thing. What I hate about social media, and in particular Instagram, is the need to if you have something that you kind of need to promote, you need to promote it. You need to be out there. And it's very easy to drop off from the scene as soon as you're not active. And the other thing I hate, of course, is that it's totally skewed towards not showing your followers your content so that you, as a creator, are incentivized to pay Meta advertising. And I understand that business model. I think it sucks for creators, and I think it sucks for users who have opted to follow a person and then don't see their content. I really genuinely hate that. Okay. And obviously that's not unique to Instagram or to Meta in general, but I find that it just doesn't work for the people who are making content, and it doesn't work for users, for people who are following. And so that's what I really don't enjoy about having to just kind of buy into that I don't mean buy literally. I'm not taking out any advertising. There's no way I'm doing that. But to be active and to be
Good for
putting
you.
stuff
Good
out there.
for you. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have done it in the past. So like when my wife and I ran Largon magazine,
Oh, okay.
we did Facebook ads and everything back then, and it never resulted in any meaningful conversion for sure. It was a waste of money in my mind, and I know that isn't for a lot of people, and I know it depends on the variety of factors. But I personally have never seen an advantage in doing that. The only kind of uptick in anything, in any kind of salesy stuff, is just being present on the platforms and putting out content, which takes a lot of time, And this is why
so much time.
and this is why I admire you so much, because you're always putting out such great, beautiful content. And I'm like, how does he do it? He just doesn't sleep. He's he's a machine.
I spent like 60-70% of my time and so like preparing the content, and it's kind of getting tiring. I have to be honest. It's now with Type Foundry and the podcast as well.
Yes.
And with the podcast, I try to do it 2 times a day because there's so much content, and it would be lost because there's a new episode every week, and then you have to put out all these interesting things about each guest. Otherwise, you end up with one reel or something.
Exactly.
And it can be so tiring. But it's, as I said before we started recording, I'm not complaining. Things are good. So
it's working. It's definitely working.
It's okay. Yeah, I'm quite satisfied. So as much as someone can be satisfied with social media, but here we are. Yeah,
that's right. It's the world we live in, unfortunately. And if there's something that you need to promote, then social media is something you just got to do.
Yeah, you have to deal with it, and
that's right.
But it's it has its own, as you said, advantages. You go on and see some stuff that you really want to see. Usually,
meeting people as well. I mean, sorry to interrupt you, by the way. I have met so many people through Instagram. So many. I mean, yourself included. Discovering, being able to DM people, having that direct connection has been hugely beneficial, and sort of in the sort of music world through some of my music account as well. Like almost every single connection I've ever made has been through acting and DMing on Instagram primarily, and it is amazing for that. And I would miss that. In fact, that is one of the things I miss when I tried to be less active, because I'm like, I just need to just be off this for a bit. I missed just kind of having chats with people and just being there, and I'd log in and realize I'd missed chats, or I'd missed mentions in stories and bits and pieces like that. And so it makes sense to have to be on it quite a lot. Which is probably not good for your mental health. But also, if you're meeting nice people and having good conversations, then there's that side of things.
Yeah, there's like two sides of the coin always.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, but you also, right, with the promotion of the book, you're also starting organizing these like meetups and, live meeting people in person. And you've met some really good, right? There was one meetup for the book already, and you have a couple more, right?
That's right. Well, there's 5 in total. Yeah, so there's 5. So I'm doing like a little book tour, which kind of started as a bit of a personal joke.
Okay.
As in, I didn't really mean that it was going to be a tour, but it kind of is. So last week we had the launch event in Bristol. Excuse me, and so that was last Tuesday, and that was fantastic. So we did it as part of Letter Lovers, which is a sort of local gathering of font geeks and type designers and lettering artists and sign writers that we have anyway, and kind of did that as a collaboration. So it was kind of it was a Letter Lovers event, but it was also the book launch, and we hosted that at a bookshop in Bristol, and it was lovely. Jamie Clark, who is a very good friend of mine, lives in the same village as me, a really old friend. He sort of compared the evening and sort of fielded questions from the audience. So we had a really nice on-stage chat about the book and the type industry and everything. Really, really nice. Got a good crowd of people in, sold some books, signed some books. It was such a fun evening. And so I had done that before, for the other book, because I've, over many years, through doing magazines and stuff like that, there's so many times where we put stuff out there into the world, I say we because, I was doing one of the magazines with my wife.
Yeah.
And it's such a non-event. You press the big green button on the website back end, and hey, the website's live. You can, and it's like, it falls so flat. So I thought I really want to do an in-person event for this to kind of make it an actual thing. So I did that for the last book at the same bookshop, same kind of setup, and I was so pleased that I did it, because just being able to celebrate it with other people in the real world. Like, oh yeah, it is a thing. I didn't just imagine this. Turns out it's a real thing. And so this time around, I thought, well, I would love to do the same thing again, at the very least. And then just had this kind of stupid idea for, what if I did it across multiple different cities? And so that's what's happening. So there's 5 dates. Bristol was the first one. I thought the home city has to be the first one.
Yeah.
We've got Brussels coming up on the 1st of April. In Waterstones in Brussels. And then there's Beyond Talleyrand in Düsseldorf at the end of April.
Wow.
Then one in London, which hasn't been announced yet, so I can't say where that is, but it's in London on the 14th of May. And then at Type Paris, now 26, are at the end of May. And so a few of them are sort of to do with either I'm speaking at an event or I'm kind of at a conference anyway, so kind of like side events. But it's sort of tacking that on, so there's like a mini kind of launch party at each thing, or I'm selling some books and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's ended up being like this 5-stop sort of tour thing. I had this original idea that I would love to do the whole thing by train, and they would be back to back, and so it would be this continuous journey. But it's so hard to book places. It's impossible. Yeah. And I would love to do more cities, because I realize it's not really that representative of the continent. But it's hard. You've got to have a venue, especially ideally like a bookshop or some sort of event where there's going to be, you sort of guarantee that people are going to be there, and there's enough of a kind of type/design scene in that place as well to get people. So come on, man, let's sort something out in Barcelona. We need to find one somehow. We've got to find a way.
But I'm back in Madrid now. Not in
Are you in Madrid? Aren't you? Of course. Okay. Well, well, let's do it. Let's Madrid then. Let's
no, I mean, I was thinking about it actually. So yeah, I mean, we could do something.
Oh, okay. Definitely. Well, I'm up for it. I was sort of semi joking, but yeah, if we can, then I am 100% up for that.
Yeah. I'll see. That's a great idea. I'll see what can be done. When I had my own agency before, and there were clients who always wanted more things, and this reminded me when I said I'll see what I can do, I would usually end up doing it. So this is kind of a good moment here. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
That'd be absolutely amazing. I mean. Yeah, Madrid it has a really great design scene, and it's such a vibrant city, and I think we can organize something.
Okay. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to put you on the spot there. Let's take it offline. Let's do something. Yeah. I mean, it's so. I mean, I'm sure you sort of feel this as someone who puts out things that are predominantly digital, and I know obviously we have sort of a shared web design background as well. It's so. Like I said, it's so non-eventful pushing that kind of go live button, but also just things that, it's seeing somebody in real life who, and I'm not saying, do it to fish for compliments or anything like that, but to have someone go, oh, this thing, was really useful. And, I'm going to use this book because it's enabling me to do this thing, or I've always wanted to see something similar. It's so sort of affirming that you're like, oh, wow, okay, there isn't just some weird idea that I came up with that no one's actually going to be interested in. Hopefully other people do find it useful. If maybe they don't have to find it useful, maybe they just enjoy it.
It's just beautiful as an art. Yeah.
So, and again, it's not about me. It's about celebrating the work of all these people. That these foundries are producing beautiful typefaces, beautiful graphics, and I felt that was really important to share that. Also, another thing that I want to say as well about that is that the motivation for this was to make sure that there was like a very level playing field. So there are foundries in here who are kind of relatively sort of newbie foundries, and then there are folks who've been at it for many, many years, and there are people who are, it's one person doing it like yourself, or there's people who like massive sort of, foundry sort of agency-like scenarios. And I really wanted to make sure that it was a very level playing field between the noobs and the veterans kind of thing, but also a level playing field between the actual, like the graphics themselves. Like the most beautiful specimen graphics don't necessarily mean that the typefaces themselves are the most beautiful, the most robust, most well-made, etc. The other way around as well. Sometimes the absolute best, most professional typefaces don't necessarily have the most inspiring graphics. And so I really wanted to keep this real mix of stuff in there that would kind of represent everybody who's currently working in there in the scene, and to kind of bring a lot of non-Latin is obviously a kind of a terrible term, but it's a very Latin-centric way of looking at things. But to bring in some multiple scripts in there as well, and to present them in line, rather than here's a non-Latin section. I think it's really important to make sure that the Hangul and Hebrew and Japanese and everything is all presented within the context of all of the other typefaces in there as well.
Yeah, I'm just starting to see how much work you had to do with all of this.
It's just lots of fretting, basically, lots of late nights and worrying about all this stuff.
So many thoughts and everything. I mean, you just consider like, I'm just going to collect a couple of typefaces and put some previews here and there and specimens. And
that's it.
But then you go back and realize how much work there is. So, I mean, kudos to you. And it's a really, really beautiful book.
Thank you.
I mean, I cannot, as a type designer, each specimen is like a treasure for me. So yeah, I mean,
thank you very much, and thanks for being part of it.
Type design, it's really, it was. I mean, there was one fun thing. You collected almost everything, but then you figured you didn't have like the license signed from the people. That was a last minute thing.
Yes, I did. Yeah, that's right. I thought, well, yeah, there was a few like paperworky things because, so there's a couple. So I think the one that you were mentioning was the fact that early on the publisher had kind of sent me, I mean, I'm not going to talk about the specifics of all the contractual way it works because it's super boring, but basically there was a form that all people in the book needed to sign to kind of make sure that the publisher through me or through my company had permission to show this work, which is standard, of course. And I, being wrapped up in the sort of more creative side of things and the organizational side of things in terms of the content, kind of forgot that I needed to send out this form. And then until really late in the day, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need to actually make sure I've got permission. And luckily that was all fine, and there was lots of emails back, because I never do like an email with like everyone BCC'd and like, hey everybody, here's the thing. Well, I try not to in most circumstances. So it was always relationship, sort of one-on-one relationship as much as possible. So just making sure that everyone, all those one-to-one conversations, making sure that everybody had that paperwork was a little bit stressful, entirely of my own doing. But then there are even some things like, Jen and Amy Hood of Hoodspa had, they'd given me their stuff, the graphics for the book. And then I realized fairly late on, I was like, oh, actually one of them is through their own foundry. And then the other one is actually released through Fort Foundry. So I was like, I need to actually make sure that, even though the Hood sisters were totally fine with it, I was like, oh, I should probably do the right thing and check that Fort are okay with this, and obviously they were, and they were lovely, and very gracious and everything. So that was fine. But there was and there were a few things like that were just like last minute administrative, really not fun, really not creative elements that added to the stress of the whole thing. But it all worked out okay in the end.
I remember like waking up. I think I was on a vacation that week, and I woke up and I saw like urgent in a.
You were on holiday. I remember this. And I was very appreciative.
What's going on? What's happening now? And then but luckily I was able. No, all good. But luckily I was able to do it on my phone, and it was all good. So that was quite fun.
I'm really thrilled that we're still friends and you've invited me onto the podcast despite me interrupting your holiday
A
to get you
vacation.
paperwork.
Oh, imagine. No, I mean, we've had such a really, I would say, good relationship on social media because we never met in
No,
person,
never in real life.
which is a shame. But we will definitely.
That's why we need to do a Madrid event.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just keep pushing on it. I cannot cut out all the things. So, yeah. So it was really nice, and we share. And I mean, for everyone who's interested in more of your background story, I really didn't want to talk about it today because we covered
we covered it.
the items in the first episode. So we share quite a lot of similar things in our journey to this moment. So that's quite interesting as well. But how are other things going? Where's the music? How is your wait? There's first things first. From being a freelancer for God knows how many years, you are now back to working for a company. You are working at Adobe at the moment.
That's right.
How did it feel to make that transition?
That was, I mean, day to day, it wasn't a huge transition because I was already back. I was contracting for them as a freelancer. Yeah. So for over a year, for about a year and a half. So like it just went from one day as a contractor to the next day I was actually an employee. But mentally, it felt like quite a huge leap because, as you say, I was freelancing. I was being an independent designer, doing sometimes like long contractual projects that were kind of job like, but technically I was not employed by those companies and they had a contract with my company and blah blah blah. But it was 18 and a half years since I was on the payroll at another company. So it was a very big change for me personally to kind of, and it was one that I wasn't sure about to begin with. Like I was, contracting and they said, there's this potential, do you want to join the team full time? And I thought, wow, like, do I want to leave behind the world of independent life? But yeah, I was like, you know what? I love the team. I love the product that we're working on. And it really felt like the right time for me personally in my life and career to kind of do that and to kind of settle into a little bit of security and to kind of go, hey, when I don't have to guess what's going to be happening 3 months from now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I always espouse the benefits of freelance life for sure to everyone, but it's a very personal decision. I think for me personally at this particular time, I was really thinking about what I wanted to do next and what I would and could do as an independent designer, and really love the idea of just sort of being able to continue working on something and iterating over a very long period of time with the team that I love, because it was also my sort of second time back at Adobe Fonts, because I was at Adobe Fonts a decade or so ago when it was still Typekit. Again, technically as a contractor, even though I sort of had a job-like position there for 3 years. And then back as a contractor, and then now as a full-time employee. So collectively, I've been there quite a long time. But as an employee, I've only been there like 6 months or so. But it's nice, I mean, it is really nice having a little bit of security and paid holiday. I'm on holiday today. I've got PTO. I'm being paid to not be at work. This is a totally foreign concept to me. I didn't even think about that. And Adobe are very generous with kind of benefits and looking after staff and stuff like that. And I'm very appreciative of that. And it just isn't really something that I'd considered. I just got so used to doing my own thing. And also they're very, I still have a bunch of side projects here. I do this newsletter and, obviously the stuff around the book. I'll probably do another book at some point. There's speaking gigs and things like that. And there's no, they're very supportive of all of those things. It's not like, oh, well, no, you have to give up on all of your kind of outside interests to do this. They're all, very, very supportive of all of that, which is great. I'm very grateful for. But yeah, mentally, it's been a weird shift for me to suddenly be an actual employee on the payroll.
I cannot even imagine. I was never employed by someone. I was like,
never. Wow.
Never. So I mean, that shift, as you said, I mean, day-to-day job goes pretty much the same probably, but the shift in the mindset and everything, it's I don't know. It would be quite a weird thing for me, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of having. I mean, obviously, like the other side of it is there's obviously lots of like administration and forms and
Yeah.
processes and things that you have to kind of be a part of, which is just sort of part and parcel
Yeah,
of
I
it.
mean,
But
part
then
of the job.
that said, you know, even had that as a contractor. You know, there were lots of complications about ways you get paid by different companies, and you know, there's lots of bureaucratic things. And every time you move to a new sort of long-ish contract, you've then got to figure out this other place's new systems and things like that. I mean, I think the way that you as an independent type designer, kind of working on a thing that still really appeals to me. I think if I were a type designer, for instance, being independent, I think would probably still appeal to me, because just the idea of just sort of noodling away on something
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
office
Doing
for
your own
hours is
thing, yeah.
exactly what I love doing. But yeah, I think because I'm not a type designer, it's I was really thinking hard about sort of what I want or could do, you know, for clients and stuff like that. And yeah, for me, this just feels like a really nice kind of reset.
You said you're not type designer, and I was thinking this morning, like he never designed a typeface, and yet he probably knows more about type design than an average type designer.
I don't know.
I'm sure you do. Like, I mean, you've done so many things in type, so that was really good.
Well, I know in theory, I think, but I'm still pretty terrible at drawing Bezier curves. So.
Have you ever, sorry to interrupt you, have you ever finished the course from Victor?
I did. Yeah, I finished watching all the videos.
Okay.
But I didn't. That's how we know each other, isn't it? It's because you did the course. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so
yes.
I did finish all the videos, but I didn't finish my typeface that sort of came out of it. So, but you know what? I've been thinking about it again recently, and I think it's because now the book's out, and I'm doing all the promo stuff for it, obviously, but like that will kind of die down in the not too distant future. I guess I'm starting to feel like, like maybe I could spend some time doing some of this. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I really would love to get a typeface out that, you know, actually finish a font, get it out there. I don't know if I've got the patience to be like, if I had the opportunity tomorrow to turn into a full-time type designer, if I happen to be good at it, which I definitely am not right now.
You never know.
Theoretically, maybe, but like definitely not in terms of practice. But yeah, I don't know if I have the patience to see that through multiple weight styles, kerning pairs. I mean, you know, but also there is, I think, and I know a lot of type designers. There's definitely there's a personality type for sure that you can see there's like a correlation there, and I think I do have that. I would be happy just noodling away in my office for hours on end, being totally undisturbed on some curves. But you know, a very close friend of mine, Jamie Clark, who I've mentioned already, he is a great type designer, very talented, someone who took it up not that long ago. You know, he's only been doing it for 11 years, I think. He did a couple of rounds of the intensive course at Reading University.
Wow.
And he, you know, switched careers from being a design agency owner and working in house at some big companies as well, to doing that. And you know, he does very well. And as well as being a close friend, you know, he's a great resource. You know, he's been very gracious with his time if I want to just come up. And so I went to his house not long ago with our friend Emma Lucian, who designed my logo. She's a hand lettering artist and a now type designer as well. And he was like, come round, ask all the silly questions about glyphs. just let's sit down and just like, what do you want to know? What sort of things you can't learn from a video course or from watching other stuff or reading the Glyphs manual? And it was really helpful. I haven't enacted much of that stuff since that session.
So,
but,
okay.
But I am very lucky to have that resource on nearly my doorstep, and very, very grateful to Jamie.
Absolutely. I mean, he's a great type designer. So yeah, that's absolutely great. But how is the music going?
Well,
is it
currently
going?
you can't see this with the current setup because I've swapped camera angles, and usually I'm like sitting that way. But currently, everything is balanced precariously on top of all my synths. So maybe that's indicative of how the music is currently going, that they're just here collecting dust with laptops and microphones piled on them. I've really I haven't made any new music in nearly 2 years now. And I really kind of suddenly fell out of love with techno, then that sort of side of electronic music. But I've been playing a lot of guitar, partly because my youngest daughter is learning guitar, and have been sort of writing some stuff, and have this vague ambition to put out some guitar-based music at some point. So one of my goals for this year is to put out at least one track of this kind of guitar-y stuff that I'm working on. But I haven't committed any of it to, none of it's actually been recorded yet, so it's somewhat theoretical. But I've sort of fallen out of love with one side of music, the electronic side, but really fallen back in love with guitar-based music again, which is what sort of the background I come from anyway. I originally started out making more guitar-y stuff when I was a teenager and in my 20s and stuff like that. So it's kind of nice to get back to that. But currently no new music from me in the near future, I think. Maybe towards the end of the year, something, but we'll see. I've said it in public now, so,
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things you do, and with the kids and everything, then I can only imagine, like, did they suffer a lot because of the book? Were you absent a lot?
No, I don't think so. Because it was like little bits of evening and weekend work. But I think I took more time out to do the other book. Actually, no, you know what? In the end, with the other book, it was a bit of a struggle because I was just doing client work and stuff at the time. And then because of the deadline and the summer holidays and kind of like sharing childcare with my wife, I basically had to give up client work for the summer of 2023, I guess it was, and to finish the book and to look after the kids before they went back to school. And the back to school week was also the deadline for the book. So that was kind of stressful. This one has come together a little bit easier, I think. It has been evening and weekend work, but also it's been like the kids will be in bed, and then my wife and I hang out in the evening, and then my wife might go to bed, and then I will go out to the office where I am now, and then kind of work on it. And then, don't get me wrong, I mean, there were times where I really did not feel like doing that. And I don't think I'm as good at doing that these days. I don't think I've got as much stamina as I used to. But despite that, I must admit that once I get into a project, I will like happily work until sort of 1 a.m. I get in the zone, and I am kind of like, much to my I guess I'm sort of a night owl, or even I don't want to be. I love mornings. I love being out in the daytime, but I must admit, getting in the zone at night is probably the where most of the work gets done for stuff like this anyway.
Okay. So at 1 second of this conversation, you mentioned probably another book. Should we expect another Fine Specimens in a couple of years, or?
I mean, I still feel, I don't know, the publisher may feel differently about this because, as I said, they kind of would like something to be sort of evergreen, which sort of sort of shelf life of 5 years or so. I think that there is a lot of potential for more volumes of this. I suspect, I don't know, I've got quite a few foundries have followed me recently on Instagram, and I wouldn't be surprised if people maybe inquired about future volumes and having and doing that kind of thing. I would love to see it. But also I appreciate that you kind of need a bit of a gap I also need a gap.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I do have an idea for another book, and it's not really type related. It is, yeah. I don't want to say too much because it's
Okay.
the very early stages of an idea. I suspect that it will be one that I end up self-publishing rather than going through a traditional publisher. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see
Planting
how
the seed.
things go. Yeah, yeah. Okay. No worries. I will not pressure you on there. Maybe when you come to Madrid.
Yeah, maybe then.
Maybe,
Well, I might
yeah.
have like fully formed the idea a bit more by then. So
Yeah. Who knows? So, did you mention you're on a vacation right now, or
did I what?
no?
Sorry.
Did you mention that you are on vacation?
Oh, vacation. Oh no, I just have a day off. I have a day off.
Day off. Okay.
Yeah, today's a day off. But I'm very lucky because I have some holiday time to use up between the end of now and the end of financial year. So I have some time off. I'm getting to go to Bucharest next week for Adobe stuff for travel, which is great.
Oh wow.
Really looking forward to that. And then the week after that, I have some time off because I'm doing the next leg on the tour, which is Brussels.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, I love Brussels. It's
same.
Such a beautiful city. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And this is probably going to go out before then, right?
April 1st, I think. Yeah. Oh, the same day.
The same day. The same day.
Yeah,
so if anyone happens to be listening to this on April the 1st, come along down to Waterstones in the evening. It's free. I'm going to be having a chat with my friend Paddy, who's a great author, illustrator, really old friend. Also comes from a similar background of being a web designer who's then moved into other things. But yeah, Paddy Donnelly, he's had a ton of books out. He's amazing. And he and a few friends are going to be there at Waterstones, and we've heard of a few people coming from further afield, which I'm very excited about. And yeah, it should be really fun.
No, that's really amazing. Well, April 1st, guys, if you are listening, I mean, this should be like live early morning. So
there's time.
And hop on a train and
book the Eurostar or whatever,
Yeah. No, I mean that's really cool. And how does it feel to actually go on a book tour and meet all these people? And you've also experienced it, but it was for the first book and now in your hometown. But how is it like to go internationally on a book tour?
I mean, I guess I haven't done it yet beyond that first one, so it remains to be seen. But yeah, I do quite a lot of speaking gigs and stuff like that. And it's always so nice to be out there in the world, seeing people. Again, sort of having that reassurance that what you're doing isn't just something that exists, in your solo studio and never kind of gets into the hands of anyone. So it's always nice to kind of meet people and to get out there. And that's the thing. I think it's just, I think we need that now more than ever, because
more than ever, definitely.
Everyone feels very, I think there is a little bit of doom and gloom generally in the creative industries, right?
Yeah.
So I think having the human connection is more meaningful, more important now more than ever. Especially, I think we're still kind of reeling from COVID and being so separated that there is, it's just important to get out there and see real people and to celebrate.
Absolutely. And that's what we are going to do in Madrid as well.
Hey, I love the way that we've gone in the course of this conversation.
Yeah,
from like a joke to like, now it's okay, well, let's actually plan this.
No, I mean, I have a busy day today, but
you got to cancel your plans.
Yeah,
you got some organization to do.
Yeah. No. I mean, I had already something in my mind about some other things, but this really fits perfectly the whole idea. And
amazing!
Yeah, fantastic. It would be really great. I will not keep you for too long. I know.
No, it's pleasure.
You want to enjoy a bit of your time with your kids and everything.
Well, my kids are at school, so I've got the. I can please myself for a bit. I'm very happy to talk.
Okay. I will not I kind of feel that it's redundant to ask you once again, like, oh, what would be your advice for a designer and what would you do? But I will ask, do you have any other side projects at the moment? We talked the last time so much about the importance of side projects. And do you have any other, like, except the
I mean,
ones we know about?
The big one. So I run this, as you know, this newsletter, typography newsletter called Typographic and Sporadic, which is kind of my biggest side project, I suppose. Even though it only goes out, every couple of months or so. But currently, I'm running a pop-up newsletter that is exclusively about the tour. So there will only be 5 issues. Okay. It's entirely separate from that list, so you have to manually subscribe to the pop-up. It's called
people can do that in your Instagram website.
Yeah, if you go to the link in my Instagram bio, elliotjstocks.com/links has all the links to this. It's got a sign-up form for both newsletters on there. And the pop-up newsletter concept, I love it. This is something that I don't know if it was invented by Craig Mod, but he definitely popularized it. This idea of you run a sort of a time-boxed newsletter that's about one specific thing, usually with a finite amount of issues that are going to go out there. And the list is deleted in its entirety at the end of the thing. So it goes against all kind of conventional list building wisdom, but it lends this nice sort of immediacy to things where you say, right, okay, you subscribe to this thing and afterwards you're not then added to another list that's just gone. And also there are no online archives. So there's no sense of like, view in browser, or if you miss this issue, then don't worry, you can catch up on this website. Once it's gone, it's gone. And I like that kind of, I mean, it's a newsletter. It's nothing too profound, but there is that sense of being kind of in the moment and the sense of immediacy of going, if I want to join in on this thing, then I have to subscribe, and I can only view it in my email client and it will then disappear. And I love that. So I've run a few editions of the pop-up before, and and each time deleted the database. And so this latest edition of the pop-up, which is called Notes from a Different Type Setting, is exclusively about the tour. And so I've put out the first issue already that was kind of a recap of Bristol, which was weird because it was the start of the tour, but it's in my home city, so it's not really, there's no travel involved. Whereas the whole point of the newsletter is it's about the travel, it's about the journey to the time at a place, the journey back home, etc. But going forward for the other dates, that will be all about that. And so I'm really enjoying that. And the idea is that I write them while I'm traveling sort of to and from. So it's kind of like it's not dispatches from the road as such, because it's sent afterwards and kind of edited, but it's still sort of ideally meant to be like that. So you kind of following along and just sort of thoughts around travel. And so, and it's not thoughts about the book or anything like that. It's just, it happens to be run while I'm doing this book tour. So yeah, that's the bigger kind of side project at the moment, and is going to run until the last date in May. And yeah, I have some ideas around sort of extending that out maybe in some way. But yeah, I mean, newsletters that's what I'm really passionate about at the moment, because I feel like there's I can't remember if we talked about this before, but I feel like it's such an antidote to social media. It's you subscribe to a newsletter and wait, how about this? You get the newsletter. Really no algorithms involved.
You want. Yeah.
You actually get the thing you sign up for. And yeah, I know people might just delete it or whatever, or just skim read it. That's fine. But I feel like being able to just kind of talk to people via that method. And again, I obviously do share like my own work in it, my own projects and stuff, but it's much more about his other people's stuff that I found interesting, or I found inspiring, or wow, like a foundry that's been existed for years and I just discovered them last week. Check out their work. I love that side of things, and I genuinely love putting it together. It's one of those projects that I actually thought, oh, I'm just going to get bored of this after I've done like 5. But no. I still love it. And now I'm doing this pop-up as well. So, that's the big one. More more newsletter side projects for sure.
Okay. And where can people get this beauty here?
Hey, thank you for the extra promo. So you can get it in theory from anywhere that sells books. If Amazon is the only option, then I will not hold it against you in any way. I know that is the only option for some countries as well. But if you can, please support your local bookshop. If you can't physically go into a local bookshop, then bookshop.org in the US and the UK is a great option because it comes from a centralized warehouse, but they donate part of that to a local independent bookshop of your choosing, which I think is such a cool model. I love it. I hope they expand out beyond the US and UK. But yeah, anywhere that sells books. I am also going to set up a sort of form mini kind of shop thing on my site where you can buy one from me. If you want, I can sign it if you'd like, something like that. Unfortunately, it's never the cheapest option because there's always shipping, and places like Amazon kind of hide the shipping costs, which is a shame, and because we've all become used to that. And we've all accepted again that, it's totally fine to just expect free shipping, even though it costs loads of money to send things over the world. But I'm doing it. And also at the events. So if you happen to come along to Brussels or the London one or Dusseldorf at Beyond Tolerant at the end of April or Type Paris Now 26 at the end of May, then I will be selling books at all of those events. So if you come along in person, that's probably the very best way of getting out.
Okay, perfect. So find Specimens, guys. It's such a beautiful thing. I mean,
thank you.
It would do a dishonor to these beautiful typefaces to, just show it off like this. But it's such a great thing. And for inspiration to pick your typeface for a really, really good thing. Even just like being bored at sometimes and just going through it, it's such a beautiful thing.
So awesome. Thank you very much.
I definitely, I mean, if you're bored, this is a good thing. It was such a great announcement.
You can't put it as a tagline, but if it
works. No worries. Well, thank you so much for joining me once again.
Thank you for having me.
I will see you in Madrid probably as the last stop of the tour.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
we are making it happen. I don't know how, I don't know where, but we are doing that. So
Fantastic. We put it out there now. It's going to be real.
I also forget, but this is kind of it will be too late to sign up. We are giving away one book on the podcast, but the winner will be announced on the 1st of April when the podcast goes out. So this is kind of,
Oh, okay.
But I will announce it today on social media, the giveaway. So we'll be able to get that as well. And one lucky person will get this beauty. So
amazing. Yes, I forgot that we were doing that. And and if that person happens to, I don't know how we're going to pick the winner. If they happen to be in Brussels, I could hand deliver it to them.
We'll see how it goes. Or any of the other places you go. So we'll see where does it come from? Yeah,
amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Elliot.
Thank you for having me.
Once again, a pleasure to talk to you, and
likewise.
Really, really looking forward to meeting you.
Thank you very much, man. You too. Cheers.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers.